The Bible said when he come to himself. See, these kids are going to come to themselves one of these days, and I'm going to wait it out for them. I'm not going to give up on them. I'm not going to condemn them. I'm not going to throw them away. I'm not going to destroy them. I'm not going to put them aside, and I'm not going to let them go to hell. You can sit there and you're disgruntled with your lips stuck. I say, I ain't going to be a part of that. Then let them go to hell, but their blood will be on your hands, not mine. Well, I'm not going to do that. Well, don't do it. And when God says, why didn't you reach out to that child? You say, because I don't like the way they dress. God says, He's going to say to you that sits in this church, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. See, iniquity is thoughts. You might dress pretty, and you might look good, and you might be a preacher or a deacon, and you might play an instrument, and you might even come pray. But if you got iniquity in your heart, you're not going to heaven. I can't stand the way they dress. Well, I might not like it either, but I'm not going to let them go to hell over it. I'm not into long hair, but I'm not going to let them go to hell over it. I'm not into earrings, but I'm not going to let them go to hell over it. I'm not into putting ink in your skin, but I'm not going to let them go to hell over it. What's wrong with the church? I can't stand that. See, and then there's the 90s. Where my good hat? Then there's the 90s. Slightly turned to the left, quarter of a turn. Holes in their pants, in the knees. That's right. And listening to some music so loud when you ain't got to be riding with them. Just sitting next to them at the stop sign to hurt your head. Yeah. And you're sitting there and you're thinking you have a heart attack, but it's the music that's rolling your heart upside down. There's the 90s and the 2000s right now. And you know what? Most of us have given up on. Let me tell you a story this morning. Happened. And God has such a unique way of doing things. God gave me this message about 2 weeks ago. And I've been waiting for the right strategic moment to place it here. Waiting on the Spirit of God. I know why. I had to wait on another preacher to preach this morning. At about 5:30, 15 to 6. An old man, don't get offended at me. An old man was sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch. I don't know if anybody else seen him. And he was rocking. And he had his hat turned right backwards. And he said, I don't know why them kids turn their hats around backwards. I don't know why. I guess they're trying to get somebody to notice them. I guess when you grew your hair long in the 70s, I guess when you was rolling your pants up to your knees in white socks, you was, come on, y'all. And he was sitting there rocking back and forth. And he's sitting there and he was a gentleman, but his message was corrupt. Because he said they made a mistake. He said, let me tell you the story of turned around hats. He said, many years ago, China, which is one of the largest producers of hats. That's probably where it's from. I ain't got my glasses on. He was sitting there rocking back and forth. He said, China's one of the world's largest producers of hats. And he said, years ago, a China manufacturer had inducted this young, innovative, young Chinaman to design some hats. And years ago, the computers didn't have the undo on it like they do now. And he hit the finalize button, but he had put the emblem on the front, and he messed around, and at the last moment, they switched the bill to the back of the hat. And they sent it on the manufacturer. He didn't notice, and they made thousands of these things. And so they was going to make a human sacrifice out of this young Chinese guy because he made a bad mistake. But he said, wait, I think I can market this thing. You know, over in the UK and the Britain, they have them silly hats that has it on the front and the back. And he said, we can send them over there and keep the rain off your neck. And he said, he said, they wanted to come to the United States with it, so they would manipulate stars like Mick Jagger that come from over there. And if they could get them to wear a hat turned right backwards, just once a generation would get it. But he said, you know what? It's all a big mistake. The kids are just a big mistake. Because they wear their hats backwards. My kid's not no mistake, John.